dude, I don't. If you thought I didn't talk much about myself before, now I've gone zero dark 30 on my students.
Okay.
And the other day they asked me, Mister, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I go, oh, and I said a couple of things that were like, they were at total attention. They go, Mister, thank you.
You have a
You said
family?
something about yourself. I go, I don't talk about myself. I go, one girl turned to me, she goes, you're just completely mysterious to us. We don't know anything about you. And I thought, well, that's too much.
Well, you're
And
also a new teacher too, and they
right,
probably know that. Like this, who's this guy? You know?
but I have said nothing. And
Right.
which I like. I like that they said that because I don't want to talk about myself.
They don't know that do comedy or do podcasts and all that stuff.
They don't know anything. And so
That's great.
I go, well, I go, let me tell you, I do have two siblings, and I
Yeah.
said, I have two parents. They divorced in and they were just like, I was telling my AP Lang class, Lang, Comp and Lang,
Yeah.
and it was cool because I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad they said that because I don't
Yeah.
want to be the guy that talks about myself and waste time. I don't, you know that about me.
I do.
So that was really cool. And I talked about Andrea,
Okay.
two
That you
brothers, and my mom remarried. They didn't know any, and they were fascinated, and that was cool. Okay,
you're talking about what school you went to? I mean, that you no
none of that.
no high school?
No.
Okay. Hey there. Welcome back to Pod and Deliver. Ruben, we're going to look at an article today in Education Week titled What a National School Choice Program Under President Trump Might Look Like. So this article I thought was pretty well done. And sometimes you see the biases, but in this one I felt like it was really looking at the history of his first term with his first Secretary of Education. I think her last name was Voss, right? And how they really wanted to open up school choice. And it really did. Well, I shouldn't say it didn't happen because I didn't know this, but in the article it states that over 20 schools, 20 schools, over 20 states are having some type of choice, right? And so, which was news to me, I didn't know that. And so, but now the focus, according to the article, is it looks like Trump is going to look at private schools and say, you know what, let people, if they want to go there, that'd be a great avenue. But how they'll go, how the kids will get there is if people donate and I'm sorry, their taxes can go towards that. People who are maybe own businesses and they'll get tax breaks if they donate to programs. It's not even only choice programs, but also like tutoring and after school programs to help students who don't have that right now. And so I think they're looking at a different avenue, like, hey, let's hit the private schools and these people who are wealthy and who want to give to education. A lot of that money, millions of dollars, can go towards kids who want to go to a private school. I think
Well,
it's a good idea. What's that?
to be fair, the language is that a new federal tax credit for individuals and companies that donate to organizations offering private school scholarships to students.
Yes.
So not just for the wealthy. It's
It's not,
for
I'm sorry, it's not just for the wealthy. You're right.
federal
Thank
tax
you.
credit for anyone
For
who
anyone.
decides to donate to those type of organizations. Also, the program would offer scholarships to help families cover private school tuition. And
Yes.
also, as you mentioned, other possibilities
Other
that include
programs.
tutoring, advanced placement test fees, special education services. Oh, I thought they were doing away with SPED. Oh,
And the whole idea too is by state. So they're really kind of having the language of the idea that it might go back to the states, the Department of Education, right? So let the states handle that, right? And that's a possibility. So, or at least the maybe another department will head this up, but it won't be the Department of Education. That's what they're looking at. It might end up being Department of Education, but I think that's what they're hoping. So, but that being said, I think this is a good idea, Ruben, because you work at a private school, correct? And I'm sure not everybody there is wealthy. I'm sure there's some kids who get scholarships, who get help there, and maybe it's even tough for some parents who are just barely making it, and they're like saying, "I want my kid to go to the school because of its history and so forth," and they do a good job. They have teachers like you, and so this idea of this help, I think it's a positive thing. I know there's a lot of people. I'm just thinking about a lot of my public school friends. They might hate me for saying it, but I think it's a good idea to have choice. And I know that we love public school and we want it to succeed. I do want public schools to succeed. However, I also like the idea of parents having a choice, and this is giving an opportunity for that. And I think if with this administration, they're gonna look at it, and I think there's gonna be some headway in the next 4 years. What's your take on that?
I think that there's a quote by Randy Weingarten, who I believe runs the teachers union. And she said that um, the public have rejected private school vouchers whenever it's on the ballot. But
Hmm.
I think that's an exaggeration. But she mentions that what people really want is their public schools to be strengthened. That was her quote, public schools to be strengthened. And I feel like you can't look at this type of article, which I'll link it to the description, but you can't look at it without looking at how public schools have performed. And if you look at the Smarter Balanced Assessment results, which is online, you could look at your school, Jacob, and all schools up and down the state and how well we performed as a state. And you can also look how the nations performed against each other. I think you could see that the public is now open to these voucher style ideas, because I don't know. I think we're past this. We're past this now, where the public is saying we do not want some schools are considered low performing. They're not serving their constituents. And so I think you got to look at how schools are performing, and then you'll get an idea of why I think the Trump administration is going to push this and they're going to be successful at this.
Yeah.
And how I think we're in a different era now. I don't think we're going to go up business as usual.
Right.
And
Well, I think even like if we go back 25, 30 years ago when charter schools were being talked about and they hadn't really been that successful yet. And then now looking 30 years later, there's obviously some that don't do well, but a lot of them do well. So if you're looking at this situation with the vouchers, I think there's going to be more data looked at, especially at these 20 states that are starting some type of programs in their states, helping, having the school choice. I think if we look at this in 20 years from now, I think like you said, I think we're gonna say, wow, this was a good thing for people to be able to choose where their kids are gonna go, their students, and really, I was just telling this to Ryan the other day, really um that's our investment, right? In our families, our children, and for them to do well and be successful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having a choice in this area. So anything else before we go on?
no,
All right. Well, thank you, audience, for coming on with us again on this Pod and Deliver episode. Hope to see you guys soon. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to our pod channel here, or our channel, I should say, and that'll help us out. We hope to see you soon, and have a good night. Bye bye.